Hello, everybody. Please tell
Hey
us
everyone.
where you're from.
While you are the early birds, any questions, concerns, ideas, anything at all, throw it in the chat while we're still like completely engaged in this personal level. And if you want to turn your cameras on so we can actually see you and make a connection, that would be awesome.
Yeah, you can actually unmute yourself. I don't think Maria has it
No,
where
you
it's
can unmute yourself.
yeah, so yeah, I'd rather hear. Like the chat box is great, but like I'd rather
Mhm.
see your face. I'm with Heather. Rather see your face, and we're just waiting for some other panelists to arrive, and we thought we'd just take this opportunity to connect. Yay. How many people do we have?
A whole bunch of shy
Oh,
ones.
great. This is a great turnout.
Mhm.
I was so excited for this because I feel like ads. So, two things before, and then we'll do introductions, guys. But I was so excited for this because I think it's one, especially this year, 2025, bringing the four of you guys or the four of you guys together because it's like running an ad is one thing, but then you got to keep them. It's like a whole thing. So that's why I was so excited because some people were like, I don't know if you saw my post, but someone was like, I need help with marketing. And I'm like, that's such a broad term. Like, I was like, you guys, we literally have the best of the best in this group. Like, what in marketing do you have? The more specific you are, the better we can help you. Because I was like, we have the dream team over here, you know?
Yeah, we really do have like every aspect of it covered and that beautiful overlap synergy as well. So it's pretty amazing.
So before we get started, since we have some of these people in here, and then I will do my whatever. I want you guys to think when you ask yourselves, I need help with marketing. I need you guys to get very specific because we have the dream team here. It's literally going to help you when you say, I need help with marketing. Is it social media? Is it ads? Is it money? Did you do ads and you didn't get anything in return? So even though we have our topic and Jake has been so kind, he put together a slideshow for us. While you're listening to this, get the little pieces of gems and think, what do I need help with? Because obviously we can continue the conversation in the group. And so when you ask the question, I need help with marketing, you can say something like, I've been posting so much on social media, I'm not getting anything. I got a social media manager. Or I've been running ads and I'm not getting anything. And maybe your ads are doing fantastic, but your follow up isn't good. Or maybe you're getting them in, but you're not keeping them. So that's where the coaches can come in. Or maybe you're running all these ads, you're still not making any money because your pricing isn't good, or your packages or your offers. So it's so much deeper than just, I need help with marketing. Cool.
I remember also there was a conversation and I don't know if you'll remember it, but we were talking about Facebook ads and I said, you know, what is the conversion? What's the click through? What's your whatever? And it was like, hmm. So like that's something where maybe you're listening and you're like, I need to understand ads, and you're thinking of like, how do I make the ad? But that's just like the beginning, kind of the creative aspect that also has to have intention behind it and strategy and stuff that we've all researched. But then there's the how do you know what part of your ad is converting? Is the ad converting? Is the landing page converting? How are you nurturing them? Like all that stuff is such a big deal. And that's where I'm finding a lot of people don't know that part of it. And usually that's where we're hiring out. But how do you know how to check them? And that's where Jake's amazing because they're taking care of that. And you have somebody that's reputable that's taking care of it. But so many people are hiring social media managers that don't know the answers to those questions either. And that's like, then you're just spinning your wheels and feeling like ads are wasteful. It's how I started my business. I went from knowing no one from 0 to 13K in 3 months because I knew how to run ads. And then it was like, okay, cool. Now I work on retention, rebookings, referrals, and now SEO for that long game. So
Okay.
hopefully that gave you guys some ideas of like what questions should I be asking? What is it I don't know yet? And you know. give
I'm
us some
gonna,
stuff.
because I do want to put this on YouTube, and this is getting so juicy. So I'm gonna do a quick introduction before it gets too juicy.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I am Maria, and I am the admin of the Money Making Esthetician Facebook group. And today I'm so excited to be here with this dream team. We have Jake, Maxine, and Heather, and each one of them is a special gem, and we're going to do introductions. So, really quick, I wanted to put this together. This is an absolute dream that to have this in the group because I see so many questions that say, I need help with marketing. And today we're going to get deep into it. So let's go ahead and start with introductions.
Jake.
Everybody at once. No, hi, I'm Jake. I've been in the industry since about 2017. I was a former Air Force pilot, and back in 2017, I started helping my aunt, who was an esthetician and permanent makeup artist. And from there, it kind of just, it worked great. It's kind of blew up from there. And since then, we've helped, over 5,000 beauty professionals. My expertise is Facebook and Instagram advertising, Google advertising, and then offers and sales funnels. And so that's a fancy way of saying I want you guys to be able to do what you love, and then I'll help you get, more clients. So that way you don't have to worry about all the nerdy stuff.
Fantastic. Hi, I'm Maxine Drake. I am an esthetician career coach. What does that even mean? I fell into coaching. I used to be a salon and spa owner myself, led a team of 19. And when I kind of switched over to the dark side, I was a rep for a little while for a professional skincare line, and then just saw the need of how a lot of estheticians struggled on how to run their business. So I launched the Esthetician Business Academy a decade ago. We're celebrating 10 years today, and we've been helping estheticians earn more, find their niche, gain more clients. And I'm like your organic marketing queen. So we get the best of both worlds. Ads are fantastic. So we'll just kind of cut to the chase. If you want to run ads, just go ahead and hire Jake. Just don't even just do it. And then the organic marketing is very important because that's your long game, right? And so we really love teaching estheticians the how-to. So when you hire even people like myself, Heather, Jake, you know enough to be dangerous where you're not getting the wool pulled over your eyes, and you're really partnering with people that are going to help you move the needle so you can, again, like what Jake said, focus on what you love, being with your clients, and also getting your business and marketing savvy on. So thank you. I'm excited for today.
So excited. It's an honor to be with all of you and everybody who's attending. Thank you for your enthusiasm and your passion. I'm Heather Dempsey. I have also been in the spa industry. I had the #1 day spa in the greater Philadelphia region years ago. I had 27 employees and I had a personal meltdown and a lot of tragedy in my life. And I completely just ghosted my business. I sold it. And in my own rebuilding myself, I found therapeutic coaching. I was always the woo esthetician that was bringing crystals into her facials and had Reiki, and everyone's like, I was certain articles when I was in my 20s, they were being written talking about the new tree hugger in town. And that wasn't at all what I was, but I was pioneering these new services that didn't even exist yet. And I was always doing that, which made it challenging when you're building your business and you're not doing this status quo and you have to learn how to explain yourself. This is where I got such a passion for the messaging and really honing in on who you are. And then my personal meltdown actually became the greatest gift I have to offer other spa professionals because it's not just about our ads. It's not just about our marketing. And it's not as simple as mindset. It's what's happening inside. So all of these things are everything you need to build a successful longevity driven business that supports you instead of supporting it. And it's how do I help you overcome the own barriers that you can't even see within yourself because you will inadvertently self-sabotage, hire the wrong team, right? Think of your romantic relationships and the challenges you have. It's going to get multiplied by 20 when you start hiring people to work with you, unless you deal with those inner demons. And it doesn't have to be scary. It can be fun. And then along the way, still supporting with those same things. My thing is not Yes, social media ads, yes, organic marketing, but mine does a lot of grassroots networking and how to establish like the strongest client relationship that they are yours for a lifetime from the first moment you start talking to them. So again, this collaboration of us here, like it can't get any better. We have you covered in all bases. And thank you so much, Maria, as always, for being so amazing and having us.
Alrighty, thank you so much for those introductions. I am so excited. So I know that Jake had prepared a little bit of a slideshow. So if we want to go ahead and get started, and then I have a couple of questions, and then you guys are welcome. Should they hold their questions till the end or chime in while we're going?
For the record, Maria was like, "Do you have any slides?" I'm like, "I always got slides for
I
everything."
was like,
But
Jake has slides for everything.
yeah, we can either do that or we could just have a discussion real quick. Because isn't this on, offers and ads?
Correct. So I did have a couple of questions. So we'll go and start with the questions. Jake, what are the key elements that make offers irresistible to potential clients? Can you share a real life example that worked well?
Yep. My first question for the audience is, and for those watching live, I'll watch the chat. Who here has an offer right now? Type a one in the chat or a yes in the comments if you have an offer right now. Typically, when I ask this, some people say yes, some people say no. And the fact is, everyone here has an offer because that's what business is. You're offering a service or a product in exchange for, usually money. And so you guys all have an offer. The key is how you're communicating it, because if you didn't realize you have an offer, that's probably problem number one, is you're not able to communicate something you don't realize you have. And so when it starts with offer, it's what problem are you solving? Because too many times we want to focus on price or let's do a discount. And all that does, when you do a discount, you're just making people focus on the cost and not the value. And so to make it a no-brainer offer that people are going to be like, yeah, I got to have that, you've got to make the cost of it a lot higher than, or not, sorry, not the cost. You've got to make the value of it a lot higher than the cost. And so, for example, you could either say something like, hey, I have a hydrofacial for $300, and that's how a lot of people would present their offer. Or you can say something like, I actually have, this amazing hydrofacial, plus I'm going to throw in an LED therapy mask, which is a $50 value. And normally that's $400 package, but I'll do it for only $299. And so if you notice, the difference is it was about the same price, $299 or $300, but the second option sounded way better because it felt like I'm getting way more and it felt like a higher value. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
No, you sound like me, but in a male version. It's great.
I,
No, yeah,
yeah.
really not focusing on, we panic, in today's like climate, if you will. Now's the time to double down on your marketing and double down on ads, and really not like, now's the time where people feel like they need to hold their purse strings and cut back. And it's quite the opposite. So now's the time that you really want to double down and not do those discounts. I've been coaching that for a decade plus, and you're just singing the praises because it just devalues what you have. And so I love doing value ads. And if we think about the beauty industry and even the cosmetic counters, think of Clarins, think of Clinique, all of those that do the gift with purchase, right? We want that gift so bad, right? We just want it. We don't care if we're going to use it. We don't care if the lipstick's the wrong color. We just want that gift, And so when you're adding a gift with a purchase and you're emphasizing the value of that gift, people will start to see the value in you.
I agree with both of you so much. And I love to bring in the emotional piece too, because psychology is showing us like people are emotionally buying. They're not buying the item, they're buying the thing, the desired result they think they'll get. So even without needing to add extra stuff, just saying why. So a way that I did it with when I first launched, it was a facial, but it was showing every step of the facial and what its perceived value was. So at the end of this $150 facial, it looked valued at $300. I didn't even offer a discount or anything extra. It was, this is the facial and this is what you're getting. And the other piece that I love is like we're saying, like if it was a hydrofacial to really deep cleanse while hydrate, so that, and then that's where we bring in that emotional piece so that you feel refreshed, dewy, glowy, and more confident than ever for that date you have next week. Like bringing in these like personal pieces are so, so huge. And I totally agree with Maxine that double down on anything, any investment in your business and yourself. When it feels the scariest time is when you invest the most. It's exactly what I did. And there's ways to play with that too. We'll get into that with more like marketing, other marketing strategies. I'm sure at some point in this, but yeah, I totally agree with what you guys are saying.
Yeah, let's talk about pricing, because a lot of people, especially when they're struggling, they think they need to lower their prices. But one of my favorite quotes is, if you're the cheapest, nobody expects you to be the best. If you're the best, nobody expects you to be the cheapest. And so, for example, if I were to take two people in the comments right now who offer facials, and one person told me they charge $100 and the other person says they charge $200, I would assume, without knowing anything else, I would assume the $200 person is going to have a better studio, they're going to have better machine, they're going to have better customer support, they're going to have better reviews. Those are all just assumptions based on their prices.
And
Love
very
that
good assumption.
fact.
I do love that, but that's the psychological component too, is that we think, or people think that when times are challenging, that people, it's all around the money, but it's really you that is making it all around the money, instead of just keeping your focus on what you have to offer and how can you make what you're doing better. And I love what Jake said about pricing. We struggle with the pricing whenever I'm working with someone and we're like, great, we're gonna do a price increase. There's always like this, until you're like, you are just you're so ready, you have no fear, you're ready to bust through the fear. Do you want to know the biggest price jump that I recently did with a client? And she was like, Maxine, I'm so ready. I'm so ready to lose the people that aren't willing to pay me what I'm worth. And she did a $50 jump, a $50 jump. And the truth is, she lost very few people.
Mhm.
Isn't that fascinating?
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I would love
And
to
then
know, really quick, I'm sorry, everybody who has a service in the chat, can you please put the service you offer?
Your number
Yeah.
one service.
Your number one. So like facials, waxing, it's like a general. Lashes, maybe you do facials, lashes, and waxing.
There are two things that when Jake was talking about pricing, like it's so true about that perceived, if you assume something, but also if you go somewhere and the first time you ever go, it's on a 50% discount, you will never feel good about paying full price the next time. Again, there's this psychological thing. A person knows you can afford to only charge that much. They don't know that you didn't profit for it. They don't know that maybe you were in the minus, but they imagine now that's the perceived value. You can never change that ever, ever. And it's not worth it. And even if you're going to do like bonuses on occasion, it's better to price yourself high and offer a promotion than it is to start with promotions. It's so true. And even just, there was some other piece of this. I have to remember it. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll come back to it.
You're on the right track. It's the same
Yeah,
reason.
there was something else that was like off topic, but
Yeah.
Heather, I loved how you mentioned that you started with, basically you were describing value stacking, where you basically described your service and it gave it a higher perceived value. So I'm going to show everybody kind of an option, or let me see if I can share my screen, and you can kind of tell me if this is kind of what you did. There are some bonuses in here, so it's not just describing a facial. But let me see if I can share my screen now. There we go. So this is a ProCell facial offer where it's called Age Well with ProCell, 4 months to beautiful skin. This is kind of just an example we drew up for everybody, but it talks about, you got the consultation. A lot of people just say free consultation. Well, I don't like saying that, because even if you do charge for free, I like to put a value on it, because your time, like you guys spend a lot of money to go to school and a lot of money in your expertise. You should value your time. And so I put $100 on there. And then, you have the numbing. We threw in some LED red light therapy. And for everything we're doing, we're putting a full retail value on there. And then that way you get the huge 1,012. And then it's only, if I could go back, I would change this to 399, because people do look at the first number on a price.
Yeah.
But yeah, is this something similar to what you had?
Similar, yeah, yeah. And mine was just a what someone could think a basic facial. You know, it was like cleansing, toning, exfoliation, 3 levels of exfoliation, steam, extractions, massage, mask. So it was even those simple. But the way that we talked about it was like steam to help you know, soften the skin so extractions are less uncomfortable. Extractions so the skin becomes smoother and clearer. Like all of that and each of those values. So yes, very, very similar along that line. When someone reads that, they're just like drooling over it. And you're creating this allure of how amazing it is. Or it could just be like pro cell facial.
Mhm.
Which one do you want? Right? Like, yeah, we
Yep.
want all the stuff.
And a
Mhm.
lot of times, even with something like ProCell, we don't even advertise. Well, like when we advertise it, we don't even put ProCell on there. We put anti-aging facial or anti-wrinkle facial or anti-acne facial, something like that.
Mhm,
Right. That was a great ad, by the way.
mhm,
Thanks. Um, because like one analogy I like to use, and I was teaching this on one of my webinars last night, is, when someone gets a really bad toothache, or I guess a more extreme example, let's say someone is chopping lumber and all of a sudden they, cut their leg and they're bleeding out. Do you think anyone in that situation has ever asked the ambulance driver, "Hey, how much is this? I want to make sure that I can invest in this before I go and get in this ambulance." Like, no, if your pain is high enough, you're willing to pay higher prices.
And thank you, Jake. That reminded me also, my idea was we consider what people will spend based on our pocketbooks. And
Mhm.
we're not considering it based on their preferences or priorities. I will never buy myself a Coach bag. It's not where I'll spend my money, but I'll buy a new cat tower for my cats, right? Like I go out to dinner every day, but I wouldn't do other things. So we have this perceived value and this idea of what people will prioritize, but we have no idea how many people get Starbucks or whatever every day. If they didn't prioritize that, they would have enough money to get any facial they wanted once or twice a month. So we can't assume anything. So kind of that same concept of they will spend what they're going to spend. And for those that prioritize their skincare, they're not going to ask about pricing, but it's up to us to show them why skincare should be their priority. It's up to
Mhm.
us and our messaging and how we, you know, tap into their joy and their pain points to get them to see why it will change their life, not just a luxury.
Mhm. There is a lot of money mindset happening now, right now, especially whenever things get wonky.
Mhm.
We always have mindset around money, and so, but it's very true. And I love what you said about the pain point, and that's why people who specialize in acne treatments, for example, they're pretty economically stable because people will do whatever it takes to clear that acne. They don't
Mhm.
care. They're like, tell me what to do. I've tried everything. And so that pain point is so high. Maybe they're not bleeding out in the woods, but they're, but it's high enough. So I love that. And so if you do have mindset around money and and you're thinking, "Oh, my client can't afford that." Like you don't know. So you don't know, and let's not assume that their priorities aren't on skin and spending with you, investing with you. It's an investment, right? Investing with you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm curious what you guys think about financing plans. So, like, I know some people use Cherry. I use Affirm and Klarna. What do you guys think about those?
I'd love any way that we can make it easier for people to receive our services and get the benefits of
Mhm.
it. You know, anything that makes them feel like it's more comfortable and they can really commit to themselves. I think, you know, whatever we can do for that, 100%.
Hmm. Are we finding that, and I'd love to find out in the chat box from estheticians who are offering like high value treatments, do you utilize any kind of payment plan option?
Mhm.
Because I'm very curious if anyone is and how it's going for you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because what I've seen is like, let's say you put together a facial package that consists of multiple facials, and let's call it a 90-day package or whatever. I found it's almost easier to sell that at, let's say, $1,000 if you have financing versus someone who's just trying to pay one time for $399. I don't know if it's because it's easier to take those small payments, or maybe they're trying to hide it from a significant other. I don't know. But it just converts better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious in the aesthetic world and for the solo practitioners out there. And so a couple of people chimed in like they have it, but not many have taken up on it. But is that because of the positioning and the messaging out there that we're not like, hey, let me just, take this, let me make this easy for you and go ahead and, so you can get that revenue up front. I
What
was
I find is that estheticians that have these resources, they don't really know exactly how to utilize it in a way that benefits their business. So it can be its own marketing campaign by itself, not even talking about the services that you provide. But did you know that you can have anything here and we can do, pay now, pay later, and just educating them on the ease in which it happens. So what I find with my clients is that they hear about this thing and they're like, oh, this is going to help my business. And it's that scramble to find the next thing that's going to cure their business. And they enroll, and then they really don't get how to market it as a service within their business. So that's been my impression. And I think I was guilty of it. That's one of the reasons I love that I still have a business, because I get to see like what it's like from my own stuff, my own baggage of being like, am I good enough? Am I this? And being like, how do I start to market this? But once I started to explain and I would use my own personal experiences, like, yeah, I wouldn't go just buy a car cash down, but sure, I'll finance it. And I love my car and it takes me to all these places. So same concept when I share that with skincare. Then people are like, oh, okay, again, that emotional connection.
hmm Good question.
Hmm.
Awesome. So we talked about offers a lot.
Mm.
Let's talk about advertising. What are your guys' thoughts on best platforms to advertise on right now?
I think we should be asking you this because let's flip this question. Because let's just face it, and this is utilizing your resources, you guys. Like, I love that the question came up, but here's the truth. Let's go directly to the expert, who's someone who's running the ads, who's working the ads, who's having a success um, path ratio here. So, Jake, let me flip that back to you. What?
Perfect. Um, yeah, so a lot of people, I think to me, the big three platforms are Facebook and Instagram, which you can combine into Meta. It's basically the same platform from an advertising perspective. And then Google. I've tested a lot of TikTok ads for different services and niches, and I still have never had success with TikTok ads. And so we stick to social media mainly. Google's great if you have a good website, but if you don't have a good website, Google can be a little bit more challenging. We used to be able to send traffic to Google business profiles, but they've kind of cut that out. And so you definitely need a good website for that. So typically we start most of our estheticians out on social media. The reason is, to me, like, people are like, gone are the days where people are just going to click and book instantly. Like, that might happen once in a blue moon, but that's not the expectation you want to have when it comes to advertising. Advertising is just getting you more attention, because you can have the best service, the best location, the best everything, but if you don't have attention, you're basically like a Louis Vuitton store in the middle of the desert. Like, nobody knows you. And so advertising is mainly getting you attention. Now, you want to get attention to the right offers, like we mentioned, but then also, to me, business is just about, and you guys can disagree with me if you want, but I think business is about building relationships. And so I like messenger ads or lead form ads, because that way I can get what's called a lead, but it's basically getting me in contact with someone, or getting an esthetician in contact with someone, so that you can nurture that person, you can answer their questions, you can send them in the right direction. Because just like when you go into a doctor's office, they don't just say, hey, here's the newest medicine when you walk in the door. They ask you, what are your pain points? What are you struggling with? And then they diagnose you, or not diagnose you, but prescribe you with something. And so you guys should be in the mindset of, I want to prescribe them with the best service. So, like, if they don't need this service, you shouldn't be selling it to them. And if you offer multiple services, obviously you can have different solutions for different problems. But all that to say is, I like messenger ads right now, because you can talk back and forth with them. You can build that relationship. And yeah, some people are going to book now, and some people, it might take them a little bit longer to decide. But the key is being there and being helpful.
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
treating people like a relationship and not a transaction.
Yeah. And the
Sure.
challenge, here's a challenge that also comes in handy with how I support my students is I got lifetime banned from social media. So I don't have a profile and I have been fighting for 3.5 years to get it back. It was luckily, it was how I got to launch my business. And I was astounded by how fast it happened. But I I had to use my mom's profile to run ads. So I couldn't engage with anybody. So my ad had to work. And so I was like, what's going to get people not have to talk to me, not to have to see me, to trust me instantly? And it was video. And it was
Mhm.
simply a video of me doing a facial and then my value stack. And then it was like paragraphs. This ad was a novel because it was my only chance. And I either got them with video or I got them with copy and text. And then, but I knew how to do, segmenting and funnels, and I got to store their information. And then they went into a nurture sequence where they got emails. But I had to use social media in a different way, which is also why local networking and how to get ambassadors in your local community for you is the strongest, for me, the most reliable way. Honestly, the whole reason I opened my place now that I had was because I got banned from social media. I was just a coach and consultant who now couldn't reach my audience. And I was like, what am I going to do? Well, I had an award-winning spa in Pennsylvania. I'm sure I could do it again here in Florida. And so 100%, Jake, you're 100% right. And for those that don't know that there are solutions that we can help you uncover, even if you don't have access to it, or if you're like me and you don't want to deal with social media, that's where Jake's awesome. They can do it all. But if you have to engage, there are other ways around it.
I
Yeah.
love that. What did you do?
I got hacked and they posted some terrible child like exploitation things. And there's nothing, I have like all the evidence, but you can't connect with anybody live to talk to them. So I had
Right.
like the computer guy say, like, we have all this evidence. I had the messages from the people, I had everything. But yeah, so
So that brings me to the point, and I love what you said, Jake, about, Google Ads work and Google works better when you have a website. And this just goes to show that anything can happen to your social media. Still is third party. So what are you doing this year to ensure you have a website? Your booking app, your Gloss Genius is not a website. It's a booking app.
yeah.
It's third party. So websites for the win. So I'm not saying you have to go run out and do it, right now, but you can just start with one page, you can just start with one page, your most valuable offering
Mhm.
and so on and so forth. But for that reason is that what if, we all thought TikTok was going to go away and people lost their minds. Well, what if Facebook went away? What would you do?
Mhm.
What if
Yeah.
Instagram went away? What if you got hacked? What if you had no way to communicate like Heather? So we want to make sure that we're moving people offline to our own platform that we can control, and so that you have a way to continue that conversation. Messenger is
Yeah.
absolutely great. We are in the relationship business. I 110% agree. We are not in the facial business. We are not in the waxing business. We are in the relationship business. So we have to really enjoy connecting with our fellow humans. And if
Mhm.
we don't, we're kind of in the wrong business, you know, but that's just really it. So that was a really good point. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
back to you about the ads.
Mhm.
yeah, and just to clarify about Messenger, I love what you guys are talking about because I teach this all the time. You have to have some kind of insurance policy because if you lose your Facebook and all your leads are on there, you're screwed. And same thing with Instagram. And so anytime anytime my clients get a message, I teach them ask for their phone number, ask for their email, and save that information, whether you do it through a CRM system or,
Mhm.
however you save it. That way, if you ever do lose your social media, you have everybody's info and you can still reach out to them. And typically, when I ask beauty professionals, I'm like, okay, are you saving your people's info? And they're like, yeah, I do it through Vagaro or Gloss Genius. And then when I look into it, the only information they have is their paying customers. They don't have any potential leads saved. And so that tells me if they lost their social media right now, the only people they could reach is their current clients.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's crazy how There's so much potential in people that we piqued their interest, but they didn't buy now. Most people don't buy now. They're not ready now. We're just planting the seed. They'll buy later. I've had it where I used to put menus down at a coffee shop for years. And finally I was like, oh, I've never gotten anybody from this, forget it. And then like a year later, this woman booked the biggest spa party I ever had. And when I asked where she found it, she goes, oh my goodness, I knew a year ago I wanted to come to you and I took your menu. And I was like, that day ran right back down to that coffee shop, right? Like put it down there. But I wanted to point out something too, especially when people are nervous, say Jake investing into a business like yours, like working with you. It's scary to invest in a coach or into somebody. It is scary. I 100% get it. But the short-sightedness that people can have sometimes is looking at the dollar value. And we look at like client acquisition, right? How much did this cost versus what did it cost for me to get the client? But now here's where when you're good and you know how to work with your clients and build that relationship, they're going to bring you 6, 7, 10, 20 new clients. So now the cost of acquisition for that client goes down to pennies compared to what you first thought. So this is also where ads to get them in, organic marketing to keep be known in the area, and then that client experience that's so important so that they do the legwork for you too. It's such valuable pieces altogether.
Yeah, I love that because so many people just look at like, okay, let's say it cost me $50 to acquire a new customer, but I'm only making $50 profit on that. Well, that's not exciting. But when you start looking at their lifetime value or how, like you said, you can get them to refer people and create a network almost just from each client, then the value starts going up. Like, okay, I'll spend $50 on ads to get someone who's worth $2,000 for me.
It's exciting to spend $50 just for one client. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So
It
that's where
really
it's also, yeah, know your numbers. What's your client retention rate? Is this same thing? We're looking at ads to see how successful they are, but look in your business. How fast are they rebooking? What's your client retention rate? How many referrals do you get per client? Who are your top spenders and why aren't they bringing their friends? Like these are all the pieces for that type of success.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Jake, you touched on a couple of things that just spoke to my everything. And one of them was a CRM. And for those that don't know what a CRM, it's a customer relationship management system. And why is that important to you? We think that the booking system is the end, it provides everything for us. In reality, it doesn't. And so you want to be able to have just other data on that client, so you have the opportunity to either cross market, but you want to house it in something. And I'm sure, Jake, you have some recommendations for that. And I think you might even have something as well, which is incredibly valuable so that you can continue nurturing those client relationships going forward. And that there was something else I was going to say too, and I totally lost it. So I'll just come back to it. It'll come to me just like it did to you, Heather. But this is really great conversation. I love it.
Mm-hmm. What are you guys taking away most from this? Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you really hope that we will before it's done?
Yeah, we had one question. Has anyone had any experience or the pros and cons with website builders like Wix, GoDaddy, Square, Squarespace, or any of those? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, basically, these days they're all about the same when it comes to SEO. They've made them so easy or easier, like compared to like 5 years ago, to where like there's AI tools inside each of those platforms that'll help you build a website. It's pretty drag and drop. They have great templates on all those, and so with the ones you mentioned, I think Wix and Squarespace are great and a little bit easier to use. I think GoDaddy is more of if you're hiring a developer and you want to build out a WordPress website. But I don't know. What do you guys think? What platforms do you use?
I worked with all except Wix because I always had this judgy opinion that Wix showed you that you didn't have any money. So such a vain thing that I just did not want to work with it. GoDaddy was the first one I did. They do have a website builder. It was very easy, but morally, I just couldn't handle the GoDaddy drama that goes on with who was the owner. Squarespace was my favorite because it was the most artsy when it first came out. But then I did end up switching to WordPress for SEO because that was last year was my focus on SEO. But I don't love that it's not user friendly. You definitely have to pay attention. There's too many moving pieces. And I do think that if I wanted to go back, I would probably go back to Squarespace and just focus on the SEO. I wanted to say that because Maxine was saying about like, even if it's just starting with one page of your website, 100%, I 100% agree. If you don't have a website, start one, but start it right. Don't just start it, make it pretty, start it right and learn how to do each bit of SEO for each page. And if you don't want to, or you don't have the time, or it's a better value for us to hire somebody like us to help you with that. That's the biggest mistakes I ever made in my career, was doing everything before I knew how to do it, because I had to hurry to get it done to build the business and get it to grow. You'll kick yourself later when it's a bigger project that you have to fix. So, just get those little pieces, do at least one page, but do it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I personally love WordPress, but I'm with Jake. It's not necessarily, it's confusing to a lot of estheticians. I always say you use GoDaddy for one purpose, to buy your domain, and that's it. They're going to want you to add a million other things into your cart. Don't do it. Don't do it. And then, have somebody build out your site. But number two, I think, is Squarespace. I'm with Heather on that, is that it's just very easy. It's a drag and drop, and it's just very easy to build from. So, but you don't have to, but here's the thing too, that we tend to do. We tend to, as solo, and I just had this call with a VIP client earlier today, of how it's not socially accepted. Society says, like, oh, if you're asking for help, like, you're building your business, we're doing it all alone, you're not asking for help, and if you are, you're cheating, and it's really not. To bring on a person like Jake to have them run your ads, quite honestly, I would be like, freedom. Okay.
Mhm.
Like, I don't need to get bogged down in the minutia of how things work. Just, this is my end goal. Can you do it? Yes. Great. And so the same thing with learning all the other aspects of business and this and that, like my client said earlier today, Maxine, my only regret is I wish I would have found you sooner.
Mhm.
And I said, I hear that a lot, but here's the thing, we're coming together at the right time. No, we're working together for a year. So it's a in-depth one-on-one, program. But the leaps and hurdles that she's gone through, I said, the time when you're coachable and you're ready, the time is now,
Mhm.
So anyway, so don't be afraid to hire out and
Mhm.
let the other experts do what really honestly you shouldn't be doing anyway.
Yeah, you waste so much time, money, heartbreak, sweat,
Oh my
tears,
God.
possibly blood. I mean, yeah, we're not
Yeah.
we're not immigrants coming over to the United States for the first time and, building our family's home. We're already here, and there are people that did it before us. So, I mean, I'm sure I have a business coach. I will always have a business coach.
Yep.
There's somebody has done more than I have, and I want to know how they got there with all their mistakes so I don't have to make them. And have that creative mind to toy with ideas and stuff. So yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
support is
These
priceless.
days with AI and the way technology is changing, like it's changing faster than it's ever has in history. And so to think that one person can keep up with everything that's going on, especially with ads and AI and everything, is absurd. Like even myself, I realize I don't know what I don't know. And so in the past 6 months, I've spent over $50,000 on ads for coaches and masterminds for myself because I always want to be on the forefront and make sure I can, learn and know what's going on to bring that back to my clients.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And that's where the value is, right? So I love that about all of us. So, and for whatever reason, I don't know why the mindset block is there about hiring and about bringing on. I do know that there's a lot of people after 2020, and that's when Jake and I connected. I said, there's a lot of people after 2020 that just opened up and they're like, I'm going to do this, and I can teach you how to run ads or do marketing and da da da. And people were just getting ripped off left and right. So
Mhm.
you really want to partner with some reputable people that have some great reviews, that know what they're doing, and like now's the time to double down if
Yeah, and
you're.
like just like you said, people like get ripped off all the time. I'll be the first to admit marketing, like marketers piss me off. Like
Yeah.
there was so many, because I was in the industry since 2017, and then there was all these other marketers that popped up, between now and then, and they were just like, well, I guarantee you get 50 clients in the next 2 weeks, and so many bogus offers that we all knew that it wasn't true, but they're just tricking people into working with them. And then that makes my
Mhm.
life harder, because now I don't do those bogus guarantees. And so everybody that's coming into me is like, well, do you guarantee this many clients? I'm like, okay, this is a process. It's a proven process, but you have to do the work too. You can't just, go to the beach and drink lemonade like the other marketers are promising. So you do have to be careful out there.
Yeah.
It's really
And there's,
true. And there is work involved. So that's the other thing is that, we've all connected together, Heather, Jake, and just like helping with the content, helping with the follow-up. So even if you are getting those leads, what are you doing with them?
Mhm.
Did they not contact you at the right time? So now you're like, "Ugh, don't text me." You know what I mean? Are you rolling out the red carpet, offering amazing customer service, like the fortunes and the follow-up, following up with those amazing leads, getting them booked, getting them in for a consultation, getting your hands on them, building that relationship. That's where it's at. That follow-up is king.
it is so important. And I see people thinking follow-up is just an educational piece, because we're told like don't always sell, but there's a very different way to have an educational piece that is selling the entire time and somebody doesn't even know it is.
Mhm.
So it's so important to know how to position that educational content or that nurture sequence that you'll have with a client, potential client, that makes it work. One other thing I wanted to mention was we're talking about like people feeling apprehensive to invest. It is also like I actually had a one of my mentors who, like, I got a lot of money that I didn't get back. So I understand that piece so much. But
Mhm.
most of the time when I work with clients, the three questions I ask when I can tell somebody feels scared: have I not established enough trust and rapport with you? Or do you have questions about what I'm capable of doing with you? Do you have questions about if you will do the work,
Mm.
or do you just not believe it's possible? They're the only three questions you need to ask yourself, because the money is actually irrelevant. It's, do you believe in me? Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in this process?
Mhm.
If you don't believe in one of those things, it's not going to work. If you don't believe in any, we have to just identify which one it is you don't believe in, because then we can fix that. The money is irrelevant. It will come back tenfold way faster than you imagine. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jake, do you happen to know the answer to this? What the average, because I used to know the dollar amount, what the average advertising cost it is to bring a new client in the door? It used to
I
be
thought
like
like
$110, but what is it now?
I mean, that's going to vary on a lot of factors, like what your price point is, how your
just
content is. I mean, I would
Mhm.
say for us, our average cost per lead is about $2 to $3. And then typically our clients, when they first start out, they only book about 10% up front because they don't know how to sell and stuff. And then as we teach them more of how to sell and follow up and nurture, they get that down to 1 in 6. And
Mhm.
so if it's $2 per lead, what is that? I mean, maybe 15 to $20 for some offers, and some it's a little bit higher. I know that's not a straightforward answer, but it really depends on a lot of stuff.
It
I
used to
think
be yeah, cut and dry. Now we have all these tools and AI and all of that. So we have all these, but it's still not, it's not cheap. It's
mhm.
not cheap. And so, but when we're thinking of the long game of what is that lifetime value of that client, or even if you were just going to add up what's the client value for 12 months, if they stayed with you 12 months and worked through your high treatment program, then that ad spend is worth, if it is $50, if it is whatever it is.
I
Um,
think the numbers are $50 to acquire a new client, and current stats are that the average client stays with an esthetician for 3 years and spends over 6,000. That's the most current studies. But again, that's an average. So that
mhm.
means there's some one-offs, but we're talking, right? Drake, or I mean, Maxine, Drake and I, like, and Jake too, we want you to have them way longer than that. And that's where that value and the relationship comes in too.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a question for the members in the group. I would, do you guys have pictures, screenshots of ads that you've had that didn't work?
Mm.
Or maybe you guys can turn on your mics and say that, because I had a question. I know you guys said that like you're not supposed to discount, quote unquote, to get clients in, but one of the questions that I had written down was, how can estheticians leverage seasonal promotions or events in their strategies to gain buzz and attract more clients? So, oh, that scared me. I was like, what did I do wrong? What is something that they can do for, because obviously one of the big things that we're trying to do in the group is get clients. And I for sure have been like 20% off, models, 15. What can I put out there that's going, a client's gonna see and be like, I think this is valuable. I want to book. Or for example, I was trying to create this like St. Patrick's Day 20% off for buyer repeal because I'm so lucky I found this peel. Like, is that a good promotion? Or is that just me discounting my services and coming from a place of desperateness, being desperate, basically?
If I can add one, I
Yeah.
know I just gonna have so much more, but my process for ads, if I was going to do a discount, it's actually that they have to sign up for like a 25% certificate towards. So I guarantee got their contact information. They had to show that they were interested, and now they only have money that they can spend towards something. And I didn't discount anything, even though they're getting a discount. The perceived value of the service is still $200 or $300. They just have 25 to spend. So that's the way that I like to work it. But I will also say the very first thing that I did was a $99 intro facial, because I knew 99 is a no-brainer, hell yes offer. And I didn't have to worry about if it was 150 or whatever. So but that was me being like, not a single person knows me. I have no business here. I will do whatever it takes. I know my retention is 85%. I'm not worried about it. But there are things that you have to consider too. Is your client retention? Because if you're discounting stuff and you have bad client retention, you're losing money. So there were kind of three pieces that I just wanted to throw in, and then you guys take over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can we put that on the screen again, just for a visual for people? I don't know if that was yours, Maria.
That wasn't mine. That was Jake's, I believe.
Oh, it
no,
was
that
Jake.
was no, that was somebody else's.
Oh, was that somebody else's?
Oh, yeah, sure. Who
There we
was
go.
that?
Cool. Awesome.
Mallory, thank you so much for the visual. I love this. Go ahead, Jake. I know you're up.
To me, there's no overall not bad, but to me, there's no scarcity or urgency. There's no expiration date or there's no limit to 10. It kind of just feels like it's something that I could always get. And so, well, I guess it does say limited time offer, but I didn't even notice that until now, just because limited time offer is so overused. So I
Right.
would, yeah, I would change limited time offer to either having it expiring at the end of the month. Like, because even if you put expires at the end of the month, you can still use it every month and people don't know what month you're talking about.
That's true. Or even tightening up the time frame. I don't know how you guys feel, but I also think that the 20% off versus a dollar amount off is just easier for from the psychological standpoint, that a person doesn't have to do the math. 20% off of what?
Right. Yeah, I
So,
like to do a straightforward, what's the price of the service? And then saying that regular value or something if it was going to be a discount, so that they just know what they're spending and what they're saving.
The only thing I would say is if you put a price on an ad, then you're going to get hardly any leads because people already know the price. So anytime we've ever tested and tried prices on ads, it just didn't never worked.
right, right, right. Mallory, thank you for sharing that. It kind of goes back to the original when we first started the conversation. We were all in agreement about like, don't discount, kind of thing. But what kind of value add can you give? So, for example, if they book their first Brazilian with you, maybe they go home with a care kit that's valued at blank. You see, and
Yeah, like
so that, but always putting the value, we forget to put that value, valued at $50, whatever. And so that just, again, that value stack, right? You can all tell we've studied Russell Brunson. All right. Questions from the audience. Oh my gosh.
I encourage you guys, like right now is the time that if you're
There
struggling.
was a
There we go.
question.
Mallory's
There was a question too.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
can't
best to
see the
narrow down
Facebook group.
audiences and meta?
Let's see.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Maria, you'll have to monitor and read them out because
I'm
there's,
looking.
I know, there's like,
Rita, oh, that's nice. I've been looking at them. Well, I saw one of them that was on here that says, how would you structure a deal? Is a question that I got on Facebook. So I use ASAP website. Does anyone have experience using the website they provide with your subscription?
I don't.
I don't.
But it's probably not your URL. If it's theirs, it's probably like their website with your well, I forget, like subdomain name. So that's not usually great for long term.
Has
I'm
anyone,
not sure.
I think so too. Has anyone
it's
had
great to
experience?
start, but it's just an image. So it's not going to get any SEO traction. Does that make sense? So it's fine to start. Like, I think it's wonderful that they offer it for estheticians just starting so you can get your feet wet, practice building, getting your messaging. And then at one point you want to move things over to Squarespace or WordPress.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, and everybody should have a meta pixel on their website because what that does is it tracks people who visit your website. Even if you're not running ads, you should still have it because, like, let's say that you decide to run ads in 6 months, you can instantly say, "Hey, Facebook, this is everyone who's been to my website in the past 6 months. I want to either hit them with an ad or create a lookalike audience of people who look very similar." And so it's a great way to, get people's data,
Mm-hmm.
and that's called a meta pixel.
Right. Yeah, the pixels are still there.
I had no idea what a pixel was till Jake told me. Is it best to narrow down audience on Meta using interest on the app?
It depends on what the offer and what your services are, but overall, Meta's gotten really smart with their algorithm, and so is I think the more important part is the location. If you like, if we call it open targeting, if you leave it open, always narrow it down to women, age, whatever your ideal audience is. To me, there's no reason to target men for beauty services. Some people might disagree. It's too to me, it's just easier target to go for women for beauty services. But I would say that's usually the most you would want to do on an open target. And then if you left it open, it's pretty smart. It'll look at your ad copy, it'll look at your creative and figure out who to find.
Do
I
we,
wonder, Jake, because I came from online business using ads to then doing local, I did have my targeted audience, but I also thought because my stuff's a little different than just typical, like we're doing crystal healing. And so I did do targets of like yoga,
Yeah.
new age music, meditation, because I thought they were a little bit more niched for an ideal client that would really appreciate my specific niche. Would you say, and I agree with you though, that it's getting so much smarter, it isn't necessary. But do you think that if someone is very niched, that it would benefit them, or do you think they don't need it?
Yes, I agree with you as long as they're in a city that has enough data. If they're in like a small little 40,000 people city, then there's no reason to narrow it down. But if they're in like a larger city, then yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's awesome. I don't see any other
I don't see any
questions that we haven't covered.
We have like a couple more minutes. Would anyone like to turn their mic on or share an ad?
A while back, I did a thing where like you could submit menus, advertisings, concepts, and I was going to do reviews. There was one person that took me up on it. So if anybody wants to go, like that just is fun to do, just to get another perspective. And I would almost even encourage everybody to do it just within the group, even not asking the experts, like, what do you see that could be refined here? But I'd be happy to do that stuff again. But and not to take from Jake or Maxine, I can even do it of like, what do I think's happening for you emotionally based on this ad or this messaging or this, like, I can help you dig into what you might need to overcome in order to really master your messaging a little bit more.
Yes, I love your specialty, Heather.
Oh,
It really is true. Like we're all like we have like these unique gifts, and
Mhm.
so it's great. I do love doing website audits also. It's fun. I like for you to bring reports. So that's something you can do actually today is to go ahead and run a report through your Square, your booking, whatever, and just kind of see over the last year what has been your economic denominator? Which services have brought you the most revenue? You probably have an idea, but I always say the reports don't lie. And then, like, now you know what to cut. We're constantly refining, so if you are in search of your niche that will help you, that'll be a really great start to help you. But this has been great.
You
I
guys
just,
are literally amazing. You guys,
Yeah, Marie, is
Mhm.
it okay if I give away a book?
Absolutely.
So
But of
I'd love
course.
to. Yeah, so for everyone, I can't ship you a book like to everyone that's watching, but I will give you a digital copy. So if you want this, just message me on Instagram, PMU Marketer, and I'll send you over a copy.
what is it? Hold it up again. What's the title?
Um,
You're like, did a teaser.
it's the No Fluff Guide to Growing Your Beauty Business.
Oh, I love it. No
So
fluff.
it's a thick book too. There's a lot of good stuff, and I know that everybody's busy and you don't have time to read full novels and stuff, and so I made it into like a Q&A format where just like it'll ask a marketing question, and then I'll answer it, and so it's really easy just to pick up and read for 5 minutes at a time.
That's
Awesome.
awesome. So
Yes.
good.
All right. Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
Can you please
Yeah.
share your Instagram account? All of you.
Yeah, yes, it's PMU Marketer.
So we know the answer for me. No, I can't because I don't have one. But my website is elitespapros.com, and there are 2 master classes on there that give you kind of a teaser into the way that I think. One is 3 ways to sell. So it's based on where you are, who you are, how comfortable you are, what products you sell, how long you've been selling it, and who your client is. It's like a 15-minute training. And then I teach you about my academy. The other one is much longer, but it's about the common 3 top mistakes that I see estheticians make and then what to do instead.
I love that. I'm just curious after all the conversation on ads and creating your irresistible offer, do you understand now that you do have an irresistible offer? That even if you didn't think you had it, that's number one. Number two, I'm very curious who's ready to pull the trigger and actually invest in some ads, invest in someone who's an expert to help you gain more clients, because that is the number one thing. We all want to, get more clients in the door, more leads, more leads, more leads. I'm just curious myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and for
even to
those who,
back on, oh, go ahead. Sorry, Jake.
oh no, go ahead.
Going to say, piggybacking from what Maxine's saying, also from this, right? Who feels ready to pull the trigger? Where did you realize something about what might be missing in how you're approaching your business from this conversation? Do you think that it's the lack of knowledge of ads? Do you think it's the lack of kind of really conviction in your business? Or do you think it might be something about you? Did we help to bring some awareness to what the most important thing is to address too?
Yes, it's really true, so kind of really uncovering your biggest pain point or problem, that you're having in your business right now. Mallory just said she's got a team of 3. Is it leadership? Is it, like what areas, like we can all learn in all these different areas. Is it getting your employees fully booked? And then that circles back around to, you know, marketing and ads and irresistible offers and all of those for each one of your team. Do you have a specialty? You know, we want to charge top dollar, and those who have a specialty are able to charge that top dollar.
Yeah. And did you establish your business values, your personal values, your business values, and how your 3 team members align with those values? Because if not, that to me is a foundational piece, because once it gets too big, you can't go back.
Yeah.
So, you know, what are the values, and what is that? Does that even mean anything right now? It's a really, really valuable way. It's almost like your guiding post every day that you go into work of like, how do I conduct business today based on these values? And if you have people that work for you that don't align with them, probably won't work well, or it'll be a big challenge for it to work.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And for those who are discouraged right now because you've been slower lately, and I've seen it on the Facebook groups everywhere where a lot of people are slow right now, don't be too discouraged. Every single year I see it where in March, around springtime, when it starts to warm up, people start to think more about beauty services because they're kind of getting out of hibernation. Plus, you got tax refund checks coming in. And so typically I always see a surge in bookings in March and April. So, you know, hang in there and just keep pushing on the marketing.
I love that. I'm like, let's get ready for those refund checks, ladies.
Yeah, if any of you are newer in business and you didn't know that election years destroy luxury businesses, they do.
Yeah.
So, you know, we can see a big change in how we have to use messaging to get people not to start dipping on their self-care when we have an election year. So
Mhm.
it's also possible, you know, how do we work with those things? Messaging of why not to stop. You know, we don't get ready for summer at summer. Get ready for summer in the winter. So, you know, all these different pieces. But this has been so super fun.
You guys
I
are literally a
love it.
dream. She said, I feel like scraping what I have now and starting over. I started my massage business esthetician with scarcity mindset.
Biggest problem.
Do you want
Yeah, and you don't have to scrap it and start over. We just have to find the foundational, the biggest issue foundationally, and also your quickest wins. Because if you have scarcity mindset, there's also a lot of self-judgment, I'm sure. And so we need to get you quick wins so that you can start to feel confidence and feel hopeful again and see that you are capable of doing it. And then we can start to address the scarcity stuff. That was my biggest issue. And I think that was the biggest detriment in my business, because although I had the purest intentions in the world, there was this energetic incongruency with my team of 27 because I had scarcity issues. So here I meant well, but the scarcity issue was kind of like, wait, what is her deal? And I think it created a lack of energetic trust in me. And then I felt fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. Everybody was going to leave me. Then how can I afford it? So the scarcity is huge, but it's so fixable, and you'll actually be in a better place in the future because of those initial scarcity issues. So just have faith in that. And it's amazing that you're noticing it.
Yes, Suzette, the awareness is definitely key. And whether or not you scrape it, because you know our philosophy is what got you here isn't necessarily going to get you there. And so we have a hard time of letting go. So the fact that you want to like start over kind of thing is exciting too, you know, and like,
Mhm.
if you know deep in your heart, like I need to scratch this and I need to start over, that's okay. And you can do it. But a lot of people have a fear of letting go. Kind of like when we were talking about doing a website audit, and axing things off of the menu. That's an esthetician's hardest part, because we're like, but this is this is how I built. I can't let those people go. And so and we can be frozen. We can stand in a where we're frozen. And so reach out to one of us, have a conversation, we can help you through it. And that's really it. So this was like a fantastic panel. I want to do it again.
Oh, I
Yeah,
would
for sure. Yeah.
Hopefully the hour's up.
But I would actually, Suzette, if you want to post in the group and kind of everything you took from here in Frozen, because I would love to go like deeper, like what's your website? What do you want to do? Pricing, where are you located? Because it's so deep and to get personalized. So you could either post in the group, you could reach out to one of these amazing people. I wish we had more time. But we will go back into the group. Where do they find you guys? So this will get sent out via newsletter. Obviously, Heather, Maxine, and Jake get posted in the group, so their information is in there if you go in the search bar. And then this gets sent out via newsletter. All of their information is also on the website under partners. But tell us more too, Suzette. Okay, go. So you guys want to say goodbye?
Yes. Thank you, everyone. It's been so much fun. Thanks, Maxine. It was great to work with you here too, Jake.
Yeah, I loved it and I'd love to do it again. You guys are awesome.
Same. Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you guys.
Take care.
You all.